We tried to fight them, to keep our Saurian empire free and proud. But these humans, these hairless apes from that backwater planet, they brought us to our knees, made us surrender like whipped calf-hounds. How did it come to this? When the mighty warships of the Saurian fleet first approached the human world called Earth, Supreme Commander Orion was so confident of swift victory, he was already planning the victory feast. All our intelligence showed the humans were laughably primitive, centuries behind our technology. They still launched themselves into space, strapped to chemical rockets, for the Emperor's sake, and they fought with crude kinetic projectile weapons. Orion expected to crush their feeble resistance in mere days. But that's not how it went at all. The subjugation of Earth began as planned, with a massive orbital bombardment meant to wipe out the humans' defenses and break their will to resist. Saurian energy beams rained down on the planet's surface. Entire cities were targeted for annihilation. To Orion's shock, many of the cities survived behind surprisingly strong energy shields. These barbarians had energy shields? Impossible! Then the humans struck back with nuclear missiles and powerful laser cannons, heavily damaging several Saurian capital ships. A quarter of the invasion fleet was crippled or destroyed in the initial exchange. It was unthinkable. Surely, though, the humans couldn't stand against the might of the Saurian stellar navy. Orion ordered all fighters to launch and secure orbital supremacy. Saurian attack craft swarmed from the launch bays, the finest pilots in the Empire. They engaged the primitive human fighters, intending to swat them from the stars. Except the human pilots flew like nothing the Saurians had ever seen. Despite their inferior ships, they outmaneuvered our craft with unbelievable skill and suicidal daring. They hurled themselves into point-blank range, making attack runs that should have been impossible. Over 100 Saurian fighters were blown to pieces by the humans' guns and missiles. It was like some sort of black magic. Orion watched all this with mounting rage from the command deck of his flagship. He slammed his fist on the console, making the other officers flinch. This was supposed to be an easy conquest, not a real war. If he failed here, at the outset of the campaign, the Emperor would have his head. His subordinates were already whispering, questioning his leadership. No, Orion would not be defeated by these primates. He was the supreme commander of the Saurian fleet, and he would grind the humans under his heel. He gave the order for a massive ground invasion to seize Earth's major population centers. That would force the humans to submit. Saurian troop transports descended on the planet, disgorging armies armed with advanced plasma rifles, anti-gravity tanks, and biomechanical war beasts bred for combat. Against such weapons, the primitive humans stood no chance. Or so Orion thought. But as soon as the invasion forces landed, they came under fierce attack from human tanks, attack helicopters, missiles, and relentless infantry. The humans fought with stunning determination, hurling themselves at the invaders. They laid ambushes, set traps, and fought building to building and room to room. They never retreated, never surrendered, even when hopelessly outmatched. In the streets of the humans' great cities, savage fighting raged. New York was the scene of a vast mechanized battle as human and Saurian tanks dueled between the skyscrapers. In London, Saurian war beasts battled human attack helicopters over the rubble of Buckingham Palace. Soldiers fought hand-to-hand in the icy ruins of Moscow as the Kremlin burned. Saurian forces stormed Beijing's Forbidden City, only to come under a hail of fire from entrenched Chinese troops. The Saurians had the advantage in firepower and technology, but the human soldiers fought with a tenacity and courage that stunned the alien invaders. In those first terrible days, the humans held their ground, and the invasion bogged down into a bloody stalemate. Orion watched the casualty reports in disbelief. His troops were being bled white, and the humans refused to submit. How could this be happening? As the war descended into deadlock, a lone human scientist worked desperately for a breakthrough. Kevin Sullivan had helped detect the Saurian fleet. Now he labored to find a weakness in their technology that could turn the tide. While human soldiers died in the global meat grinder, Kevin analyzed captured alien weapons and equipment. He learned the secrets of the Saurian technology, and he made a startling discovery, a fatal flaw in their protective energy shields. A concentrated blast of EMP energy at just the right frequency could completely disable the Saurian defenses. But the humans would only get one shot at it before the aliens adapted. Kevin rushed this information to the human leaders. They quickly hatched a desperate plan to strike at the heart of the Saurian forces. The fate of Earth and all humanity hung on the outcome. If the plan failed, the human race would be enslaved or exterminated. But if it succeeded, the alien invaders could be defeated. The war was about to reach its climax in a battle that would echo through the ages. Millions of human lives and the freedom of our species was on the line. Kevin Sullivan burst through the doors of the Global Resistance headquarters, panting and clutching a data pad. The assembled military commanders turned to stare at the disheveled scientist. "I've got it!" Kevin exclaimed, his eyes wild with excitement. "The key to defeating the Saurians!" General Hawkins, a grizzled veteran with a scarred face, stepped forward. "This better be good, Sullivan. We're losing ground every day." Kevin tapped furiously on his pad, bringing up schematics of the Saurian energy shields. "Look here," he said, zooming in on a specific component. "Their shield projectors have a critical weakness. A concentrated EMP burst at this frequency will overload and disable them completely." The room erupted in murmurs. Admiral Chen spoke up skeptically. "That seems too easy. How do we know this will work?" "I've run the simulations 100 times, Kevin insisted. "It's our best shot at leveling the playing field." Hours of heated debate followed as Kevin laid out his evidence. Finally, General Hawkins banged his head on the table. "All right, we're going with Sullivan's plan. It's a long shot, but it's all we've got. Let's call it Operation Thunderbolt." Over the next 48 hours, resistance cells worldwide prepared for the coordinated assault. As night fell, elite commando teams equipped with EMP cannons crept towards Saurian strongholds. In New York, Staff Sergeant Rodriguez led his squad through the ruins of Central Park, approaching a Saurian command post. He whispered into his comm, "Echo team in position, waiting for the signal." Similar reports came in from around the globe. At precisely 0300 hours, the attack began. Rodriguez fired his EMP cannon at the alien shield generators. A burst of blue-white energy erupted from the weapon, striking the Saurian defenses. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then the shimmering energy field flickered and died. "Direct hit!" Rodriguez shouted. "Shields are down! All units engage!" Across the planet, human forces sprung into action. Swarms of EMP-armed drones and missiles launched, catching the Saurians completely off guard. Their once impenetrable defenses crumbled in minutes. With the aliens suddenly vulnerable, humanity struck back with everything they had. Tanks rolled through the streets of Paris, blasting alien walkers. In the skies over Tokyo, human fighters dogfighted with Saurian craft on equal terms for the first time. On his flagship, Supreme Commander Orion watched in horror as reports of defeats poured in from every front. His advisors pleaded for retreat, but Orion's pride wouldn't let him accept defeat. "Prepare my battle mech," he snarled. "We'll cut the head off this human resistance ourselves." Orion's elite guard launched a desperate assault on the Resistance HQ. Their drop pods slammed into the earth outside the compound as alarms blared. Inside, Kevin and the human leaders scrambled to organize a defense. The Saurian warlord stomped through the breached walls in his massive war machine, energy weapons blazing. He was met by a hail of fire from power-armored human troops. The close-quarters battle was fierce and chaotic. Kevin ducked behind a fallen pillar as plasma bolts sizzled overhead. He saw General Hawkins trading blows with a Saurian warrior, their energy blades clashing in showers of sparks. A lucky shot from a human rocket launcher caught Orion's mech in a weak point. The machine stumbled and crashed to the ground. As Saurian troops fell around him, Orion clambered from the smoking wreckage to find himself surrounded by human soldiers. Kevin approached the alien commander, hands raised. "It's over, Orion. You've lost. End this now before more blood is shed." Orion's reptilian features twisted in a snarl. "Never! I'll die before I surrender to—" His words were cut off as another of his guards fell to human fire. Orion's shoulders slumped as the full weight of defeat settled on him. With a resigned nod, he activated his comm. "All Saurian forces, stand down," he said, his voice filled with bitterness. "The humans have bested us." With Orion's surrender, the tide of the Saurian invasion receded. Earth breathed a collective sigh of relief, but the scars of war ran deep. Cities lay in ruins, millions were dead or displaced, and an uneasy quiet settled over the planet. In the aftermath, Kevin Sullivan found himself thrust into a new role. The governments of Earth, recognizing his crucial part in the victory, appointed him to lead a team studying the alien technology left behind. Kevin wiped sweat from his brow as he hunched over a dissected Saurian engine. For months, he and his team had worked tirelessly, piecing together the secrets of the alien tech. Their efforts paid off when Kevin made a breakthrough that sent shockwaves through the scientific community. "It works!" he shouted, startling his colleagues as the miniature FTL drive hummed to life. "We've done it. We can replicate their faster-than-light technology." The implications were staggering. Humanity now had the key to the stars. Kevin wasted no time in presenting his findings to the United Nations. He stood before the assembled world leaders, heart pounding as he laid out his vision. "We have a chance to explore beyond our solar system," Kevin said, his voice echoing through the chamber, "to seek out potential allies or identify threats before they find us. We must seize this opportunity." Debate raged for days. Some nations balked at the enormous cost and risk. Others feared attracting the attention of hostile aliens. But in the end, the proposal passed. Project Prometheus was born. For 2 years, the best minds on Earth worked feverishly to construct humanity's first interstellar fleet. Kevin oversaw it all as chief science officer, pouring every ounce of his knowledge and passion into the endeavor. Finally, the day of launch arrived. Kevin stood on the bridge of the massive carrier Prometheus, gazing out at the small armada that would accompany them. A lump formed in his throat as he addressed the crews and a worldwide audience. "Today we take our first steps into a larger universe," he said. "We go in peace, but ready to defend ourselves and our world. The stars await us." With that, Prometheus engaged its FTL drive. In a flash of light, the fleet vanished into the cosmic void. Weeks of travel through the mind-bending realm of FTL passed before they reached their destination. As Prometheus dropped back into normal space, the crew held their breath. "Scans detecting artificial structures on the third planet," the sensor officer reported. "It's inhabited." Kevin's heart raced as he led the shuttle down through the alien world's atmosphere. The cities that came into view left him awestruck, gleaming spires of metal and crystal that dwarfed even Earth's grandest skyscrapers. As they touched down, Kevin saw movement. Aliens approached, bulbous bodies supported by 4 tentacle-like limbs. Despite their alien appearance, their body language conveyed unmistakable curiosity. Kevin stepped forward, tablet in hand. He tapped the translation program and spoke. "Greetings. We come in peace from the planet Earth." There was a tense moment of silence. Then, to Kevin's amazement, the lead alien responded in synthesized English. "Welcome, humans of Earth. We are the Rune. You have found your way to the Aurelian Dominion." Over the next hours, Kevin and his team learned they had stumbled upon an ancient and vast interstellar civilization. The Rune offered humanity a place within their union of worlds. Back aboard Prometheus, fierce debate erupted. Captain Chen argued for caution. "We know nothing about these aliens. This could be a trap." "Or our best chance to secure Earth's future," Kevin countered. "We're outmatched technologically. We need allies." In the end, the promise of advanced technology and protection proved too alluring. Prometheus set course for the heart of the Dominion. Nothing could have prepared them for the sight that greeted them at journey's end. An entire planet encased in city, gleaming metal stretching horizon to horizon. As their shuttle descended between towers that reached to the stratosphere, Kevin felt a sense of vertigo. They were escorted deep into the planet's core, to the throne room of the God Emperor himself. Kevin gasped as they entered the cavernous chamber, and then he felt it, a presence that filled his mind, vast and ancient beyond comprehension. The God Emperor Xerxian did not speak. He did not need to. In that moment, Kevin and the human delegation knew they stood before a being of unimaginable power. Whatever humanity's fate would be in this new era, it now rested in the hands of... Kevin felt the God Emperor's presence invade his mind like icy tendrils. He tried to resist, to shield his thoughts, but it was futile. Xerxian's psychic power tore through his mental defenses effortlessly. "You fool!" Xerxian's voice boomed in Kevin's head. "Did you truly believe we would welcome you as equals?" The truth hit Kevin like a punch to the gut. He saw the Dominion for what it truly was, a vast empire built on subjugation and tyranny. They had walked right into a trap. Before Kevin could even think to react, his body went rigid. He couldn't move a muscle. Around him, the other humans similarly froze in place. Xerxian's eyes flashed. Moments later, the chamber doors slid open. Hulking figures in gleaming armor stomped in. The Praetorian Guard. "Take them!" Xerxian commanded. The guards seized the humans roughly. One wrenched Kevin's pistol from its holster. Another slapped some kind of energy restraint onto his wrists. "Move!" a guard growled, shoving Kevin forward. They were marched out of the throne room and through winding corridors. Kevin's mind raced, trying to think of some way out of this nightmare. But what could they do against the overwhelming might of the Dominion? The guards herded them onto a sleek prison transport. As it took off, Kevin caught a glimpse through a viewport that made his blood run cold. The Prometheus and its escorts were swarmed by Dominion ships and drones. Energy weapons flashed. The human vessel's shields flickered and failed under the assault. "No," Kevin whispered. He watched helplessly as boarding craft latched onto the Prometheus. The pride of humanity's fleet was now just another conquest for the Dominion. The prison ship whisked them away to a massive space station. The humans were separated and thrown into pitch-black cells. Kevin lost all sense of time in the suffocating darkness. Periodically, guards would drag him out for interrogation. Sneering alien faces demanded information about Earth's defenses, technology, and resources. When Kevin refused to talk, they left him in isolation for days on end. After what felt like an eternity, Kevin was hauled before Xerxian once more. His legs shook from weakness. His once neat uniform hung in tatters. "Your pointless defiance ends now," Xerxian declared. "You will be made an example for any who dare resist us." Kevin's eyes widened as he saw the devices the Dominion had prepared. Nightmarish machines dripping with neural interfaces and psionic amplifiers. "No," he croaked. "You can't." "We can and we will," an Aurelian technician hissed. "Your minds belong to the Dominion now." They strapped the first prisoner into the neurosculptor. Kevin squeezed his eyes shut, unable to watch as they prepared to erase his comrade's very identity. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station. Red emergency lights flashed. "Alert! Alert! Security breach detected in Sectors 7 through 13, an automated voice announced. "Unknown vessels approaching. All personnel to battle stations." The Aurelians froze, looking around in confusion. Then a voice crackled over the station's comms. "Attention Dominion dogs. This is Supreme Commander Orion of the Saurian Imperium. Prepare to burn." Kevin's jaw dropped. The Saurians had returned, and apparently decided that the enemy of their enemy was their friend. As chaos erupted around them, a faint spark of hope flickered in Kevin's chest. The battle for humanity's future was just getting started. The station rocked violently as Saurian weapons fire pummeled its outer defenses. Alarms blared, drowning out the panicked shouts of Aurelian guards rushing to their posts. Kevin saw his chance. "Now!" he yelled, tackling the nearest guard. His fellow prisoners sprang into action, years of pent-up rage fueling their assault. Kevin wrestled the guard's force lance away and fired, the energy blast searing through the alien's chest. He tossed spare weapons to his comrades as they overpowered the remaining guards. "We need to move," Kevin ordered, leading the way out of the cell block. "Our window won't last long." They fought their way through twisting corridors, freeing more human captives as they went. Kevin's mind raced, formulating a plan. "The reactor core," he explained between bursts of weapons fire. "If we can trigger an EMP, we might stand a chance." A vicious firefight erupted as they neared the core. Praetorian guards, resplendent in gleaming armor, poured sustained fire into the human positions. Kevin ducked as a force lance blast sizzled overhead, leaving a smoking crater in the wall behind him. "Push forward!" he shouted, returning fire. The humans advanced inch by bloody inch, leaving a trail of bodies, both alien and human, in their wake. Finally, they breached the reactor chamber. Kevin rushed to the control panel, fingers flying over alien symbols as he initiated the overload sequence. A deep thrum built in the air around them. "Kevin Sullivan." The voice froze Kevin's blood. He turned to see Xerxian himself filling the doorway, eyes blazing with cosmic power. Before Kevin could react, an invisible force lifted him off his feet. He slammed into the far wall, vision blurring from the impact. His comrades met similar fates, tossed aside by Xerxian's mental might. Kevin struggled to his feet, tasting blood. Xerxian loomed over him, reaching out with a clawed hand. In that moment, Kevin saw the reactor indicators flashing red. He lunged for the final activation switch. A blinding flash erupted as the EMP burst forth. Kevin felt the hairs on his arms stand on end as the pulse washed over him. Xerxian's otherworldly presence vanished in an instant. The God Emperor's physical form crumpled to the floor, reduced to a withered shell. Silence fell over the station. Then, through the viewport, Kevin saw flashes of weapons fire. The Prometheus and its escorts tore through suddenly defenseless Aurelian ships. Saurian vessels joined the slaughter, their energy weapons carving apart the once mighty Dominion fleet. Kevin staggered out of the reactor chamber. Dazed Aurelians stumbled through the corridors, stripped of their psionic abilities. Many fell to their knees as the humans approached, offering no resistance. The station shuddered as Saurian ships docked. Kevin heard heavy footfalls approaching. He raised his weapon, then lowered it in shock as a familiar figure rounded the corner. Supreme Commander Orion, scarred and battle-worn, stood before him. For a tense moment, the two former enemies locked eyes. Then Orion extended a clawed hand. "Well fought, human," the Saurian growled. "It seems we have a common enemy." Kevin clasped Orion's hand, hardly believing the turn of events. "We need to act fast," he said, "before the Aurelians can regroup." Orion nodded grimly. "Agreed. My fleet stands ready. We will hunt down every last remnant of this dominion." As they strode towards the command center to plan their next move, Kevin allowed himself a small smile. The road ahead would be demanding and tough, but for the first time since arriving in this star system, he felt real hope.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.